All right, this is grade 3, module 7, lesson 9. And in this lesson, students are going to be using their tangram pieces, and they're going to be moving them around and having fun. And the idea is tangrams are this awesome tool for students to play with, to do some excellent creative problem solving with, and all the while practicing their geometric vocabulary, rhombus, parallelogram, triangle, all the right angles, all these sorts of words, and not to mention rotations and flips and all that sort of slides. And so there's all these vocabulary words that tangrams allow students in a real relevant context to start using. So get started with this lesson, have fun, and really maybe consider going online and Googling tangram activities. There's a bazillion of them for free. Don't go to Teachers Pay Teachers. You don't need to. Just go Google tangram activities and download them and let your kids have fun. So let's get started.
All right, so to be honest, I just kind of prepared this slide. I don't know the answers. And parents and teachers, that's the whole point, is we don't need to have our students solve them, especially with tangrams. We don't need students to feel like they're being tricked. So the idea is to use the tangrams, give your students some problem solving to do, and really the point is to listen for proper academic vocabulary, things like parallelogram or triangle, square, or triangle. We want to talk about rotating. We want to talk about sliding, flipping if necessary. We do not need to worry too much about getting the right answer. So that being said, use at least 2 tangram pieces to make a triangle. Oh, that's pretty darn easy. Now that I've said that, it's actually pretty straightforward and easy. We can say, well, here's a triangle, and here's a triangle, and we can put them together, and we have just made a triangle. So we've used 2 pieces, and we have made a triangle out of those 2 pieces. All right, so that's one way. It doesn't say if we're supposed to draw our answer and then return it to the pile and then use the pieces again, so you might use the same piece twice. It doesn't say so one way or the other, but it turns out we don't even need to worry about it, because in this case, to make a square, we could take this triangle, we could take this triangle, put them together, we now have a square. More of the same, only now we're supposed to put pieces together to create a parallelogram. So we have to remember, well, what is a parallelogram? This is a parallelogram. So we want to use 2 shapes, 2 pieces, to try and make this parallelogram. And here's your hint. Wha-bam! So you can see that a parallelogram is made up of 2 triangles. So I can take a big triangle and another big triangle, and boom, I just created a parallelogram, didn't I? If we wanted to make a trapezoid, remember what a trapezoid is. It's a figure that has at least 2 parallel sides. Now, if you really want to cheat, parents and teachers, here's a trapezoid. It's a square. I know it's a square, but it's also a trapezoid, because a trapezoid is a figure that has at least 2 parallel sides. Yes, there's this other competing definition that a trapezoid has exactly 1 pair of parallel sides, and but Eureka Math uses the definition that a trapezoid has at least 2 parallel sides. So we are now officially done. We have found our trapezoid. Now, if you really wanted to, we could do a more classic trapezoid by taking this, and we've just made a more classic trapezoid, but technically speaking, a square is a trapezoid. So if we needed to, if we wanted to use 2 pieces to create a trapezoid, we could have, if we chose, we could have taken 2 triangles make a square, and that officially counts as a trapezoid. Controversial, I know, but it's kind of fun. So this is really fun. I'm not going to steal the thunder. I'm not going to do this for you, but the idea is, can you use your tangrams pieces to move them around and completely make this cat? All right, can you do that? Well, the big hint is this this parallelogram appears to be the tail, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So we don't really know, do we? But it does look like it's, where am I? Come on, zoom in here. There we go. Okay, so it does look like the tail is the parallelogram. Yikes, I'm flying all over the place. But parents and teachers, I'm not going to steal their student thunder here. I want you guys to have fun, move your pieces around and wiggle them around and see if you can figure out how to make the cat. And the last problem, it says use the 5 smallest tangrams. So that's going to be this, 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 and this. Oops, not that. This. So we don't need the 2 big triangles. And we've got these 5 figures here. And it says to make a square. All right. So parents and teachers, as we're talking, are you noticing all the vocabulary? Get all these on a word wall so that your students can, instead of calling this the purple shape, we can call it a parallelogram. Now the idea is you're supposed to be piecing these 5 pieces together somehow to make a square. And to be honest, I have no idea what the answer is. None whatsoever. I would just kind of piece things together and see if I can make it work, but I have no idea what the answer is. And I'm certainly not about to steal your thunder. So, parents and teachers, let your kids have fun as they look around and try and figure out, man, I have no idea what the answer would be. Let's see, I have no idea. I have none. No idea, but I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep working. I'm just not going to record it because I don't want you all to see the answer. I want you guys to have fun as you try and come up with this answer. Boy, this is a tricky one. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And that wraps up 3rd grade Module 7, Lesson 9, one of my favorite lessons in all of K through 5, using these tangrams to solve those really fun puzzles. All the while we're taking things and putting them together and tearing them apart, and we are using proper vocabulary. So make sure you think about using a word wall.